man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. I ain't no perfect man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. Put my heart and soul into this song. Yes, yes. I hope you feel me.
Hello, this is Dr. Brown, and this is another installment of our virtual professional development platform. I know I was supposed to record this earlier in the week, got a little bit tripped up. So I'm so excited to continue with this series, and really what this is an opportunity to provide professional development in a customized, different way for staff members. The reason is because sometimes we have PD in large settings, and learning in these spaces can be difficult for some folks. So I wanted to personalize our professional development and give you the opportunity to learn in a bit of a different way. So today we're talking about leveling up, enhancing academic success through differentiated instruction. And I'm excited about this topic because we are living in a time where we're serving very different types of students. It's a different generation, there's different cultures, there's different languages, and this is an opportunity for us to figure out what's the best way to give back to our students that are coming from all of these different places. When I think about leveling up, there's one person that comes to mind, and that's Super Mario. And yes, I'm dating myself, but Super Mario was one of my favorite video games. When Super Mario would get a mushroom and become bigger and stronger, you just kind of felt like it was also happening to you in some ways. And leveling up in Mario grants extra lives, the ability, and powers up. Just as differentiated instruction can unlock new academic potential, elevate student achievement through learning and personalized learning. So I'm excited about us leveling up our instruction, improving our instruction through differentiated instruction. The question that people ask is, and we need to get a functional definition of this, what is differentiated instruction? Well, the definition states differentiated instruction is a teaching approach that provides different avenues to learning for different students. Now, to make sure that this differentiated is applied to support all of the different students that we work with, a teacher has to customize a lesson plan to meet the unique needs of their students. And what I think about when I think about the term customization and differentiation, I also think about Starbucks. We have orders that will confuse folks. You might like a venti chai latte with an extra shot of espresso, cold brew with whipped cream and a caramel drizzle. That's very different from what we grew up on, just asking for cream and sugar at a local coffee shop. But this level of customization improves the experience. And we'll talk a little bit about how customization and differentiation improves our experiences. Differentiated instruction is a flexible and student centered approach that empowers educators to create engaging and effective learning experiences for all students. I think about companies that might have lasted a little bit longer if they made a decision to differentiate and customize the experiences of their customers. Blockbuster. I grew up on Blockbuster, again, not to date myself. You know, you had to go and get into a physical store and rent it out for a little bit and pay a price and bring it back at a certain time. And this was just normal practice. So Blockbuster had physical stores that relied on a brick and mortar business model with stores located throughout shopping malls and strip malls. There were late fees. A significant portion of the Blockbuster's revenue came from late fees, which often alienated customers. And then there was always a limited selection. While Blockbuster offered a wide selection of movies and TV shows, it was limited by physical store capacity. Now, what happened with Blockbuster is they did not differentiate their business model. They did not customize it to the way that technology was moving and the way that things were trending. There's another company that was around during the time that Blockbuster was around, and that was Netflix. And the difference between Blockbuster and Netflix is this: they created a subscription model. Netflix pioneered a subscription based model, allowing customers to access a vast library of content for a fixed monthly fee. Next, they created digital streaming. By embracing digital technology, Netflix eliminated the need for physical stores and late fees, offering convenience and flexibility. And the last thing they did was they started to create original content. If you're like me, you have a Netflix account. I doubt that you have a Blockbusters account, and I don't even know if they're in business anymore. In the same way, instructionally, we have to move away from the brick and mortar mindset. We have to move away from the late fees mindset, and we have to make sure that we have a wide selection of learning activities for our differentiated groups of students. Why differentiate at all? And this is a question that a lot of teachers ask. What's the sense? What's the purpose? How does it help students? Well, it increases engagement. Differentiated instruction helps students be a little bit more motivated, a little bit more interested in the learning process. It improves outcomes and achievements. When you get students to learn in a way that's comfortable for them, they are a little bit more engaged and they achieve a little bit more. In the same way, like what we're doing here through professional development, through a virtual platform. Next, it improves self esteem. When you're able to learn at a pace that makes sense to you and with a learning style that's in alignment with your specific learning style, you feel a little bit better about yourself as a scholar. And next, more equitable learning experiences. We serve a wide range of general education, special education, and E&L students, and all in between. In order to make the playing field leveled, we have to think about different ways to provide equitable learning experiences for all of these students. By implementing differentiated instruction, teachers can create a learning environment that is responsive to the diverse needs of their students, leading to increased engagement, improved academic achievement, enhanced self-esteem, and more equitable learning experiences. Some of the key components of differentiated instruction. The different ways that you can go about differentiating a lesson plan is one, the content. What are they specifically learning? Next is the process. How are they learning what they're learning? The instructional activities, the strategies, the learning experiences that are differentiated enable students to access the content more comfortably. What are they producing? How are they demonstrating their learning? What writing pieces, what critical thinking pieces, what projects are students creating to demonstrate that they understand how to do the work? And next, the learning environment. Having students sit in rows for approximately 45 minutes without movement or collaboration with classmates is a bit cruel at this point. They need to be in collaborative learning environments where they're thinking critically with colleagues and with students about what they're learning. I really want to push this a little bit more, especially with us. We have to figure out a way to create small groups of learning partners and activities to increase student engagement. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Next is differentiating the content. Anytime that you're providing text to a group of students through AI and so many different pieces of technology, you can now differentiate the text to be in different languages to accommodate the needs of all students. You can pick apart the text through annotation. You can have students use so many different types of software to make the text more accessible for everyone. Next is the depth of knowledge. DOK questions that are fact-based, opinion-based, that also require students to cite evidence to justify their responses. These questions and tasks help the students to be more engaged cognitively and be able to analyze information on a deeper level. And then tiered assignments. Giving the same assignments to all students, regardless of their learning capacity, ability, language, doesn't necessarily make the best outcomes for students. And when I think about differentiating content, I think about the way that different platforms are moving away from traditional learning. Audible, for example, some of us enjoy reading hard-covered books that we can, turn the pages to and touch and feel and highlight and note. Some of us are listeners. We rather listen to Audible. Next, iBook. Again, for some folks, they don't like physical books, so having PDFs and documents that you can read readily on your phone or your tablet or your computer helps to engage the amount of folks that are reading. I know for myself, I love iBooks. I get to download text, read it, highlight it, but I also like hardcover books. Right now, reading Speed of Trust, which is pretty awesome. And then Speechify. This is an amazing tool that our students can use that turns the text into speech and gives them the opportunity to listen to the text. If you do a deep dive into some of the platforms that are creating AI tools for learning, you'll see that there's so many different ways that we can differentiate the content for our students. Then there's a matter of differentiating the process, flexible grouping. You can have heterogeneous grouping, homogeneous grouping, pairing, whatever it is. Find different ways to get students talking with one another. Again, a big initiative this year is turning in talking. As we're lecturing, as we're talking to students to raise the level of engagement, all you have to do is please turn, talk, and share. It really puts the onus of the learning process on the student and less pressure on the teacher. Learning centers, creating stations or designated areas in the classroom for students to explore and engage with different learning activities at their own pace. This is a great way to become more of a facilitator of learning as opposed to dominating the learning process and making it more teacher centered. When you become more of a facilitator, the responsibility again for learning goes more towards the students, and you become the person that's just facilitating the process. Independent study. The truth is that some students do really well when they are provided with opportunities to research, explore, and demonstrate learning through self-directed projects, project-based learning. What I think about, what comes to mind when I think about differentiating the process is getting to a specific location and using different strategies to get there. I remember someone introduced me to ways to travel. Didn't like it very much. It was a lot. It was very much overwhelming. And it works for some folks, but it didn't necessarily, and it doesn't necessarily work for me. But this is an example of different processes you can use to get to a specific learning objective. Then there's Google Maps, my favorite. Why? I don't know. It keeps it very simple for me. And then there's MapQuest. The reason I bring up MapQuest is I remember back when we didn't have all the technology that we have now, and I had to print out MapQuest and go line for line while I was driving to get to a specific location. The point is, when we're in our classrooms, we have to think about different ways to get our students to learn that's more effective for them. And there's so much technology to help us do it. Creating a different product. Choice boards. Having students choose what project they'd like to complete. Rubrics. This is a great way to provide clear guidelines and assessment criteria for project-based learning, ensuring students understand the expectations and can self-evaluate their work. Performance-based assessments. Here, students evaluate their learning through you can evaluate student learning through authentic real-world tasks that demonstrate their mastery of the content and skills rather than relying solely on traditional tests. By offering a variety of products and options, rubrics, and performance-based assessments, teachers can empower students to showcase their learning in meaningful and personalized ways. And we spoke a little bit about this: flexible seating, learning stations, sensory tools. We have to think about the way that they're learning when they're outside of classrooms, and try and bring some of that into the classroom. And like I said before, having students sit in a specific spot in a row for 45 minutes every day, 5 times a week, is not necessarily grounded in any type of research that states that that's helpful to children. So it's something to think about. And in conclusion, differentiated instruction is a crucial component of academic success, enabling educators to tailor their learning experiences to the unique needs of each student. By adopting a differentiated approach, teachers can create more engaging and effective lessons that empower students to reach their full potential. And what I wanted to do is give us a visual into this idea around multiple intelligencies. There's so many different ways that we learn, and we have to make sure that we're providing all of these different modalities for our students so they can have the very best academic experience that they can possibly have. Again, thank you so much for all that you do at Uniondale High School. I get an opportunity to go into your classrooms and see magic happen. You are an amazing, amazing group of people, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve as your principal. See you next time. Have a good day.